Hi guys, it's Ugo. Welcome or welcome back to another video. Today it's time to give you my best books of 2023. I keep pushing a little bit this video a little bit further till the end because I was trying to see if I could put any more book that I was reading in December to this list, because I was reading Divine Rivals, I was reading a lot of books that could be best books, so I wasn't in a hint that maybe could end, but we arrive at the end. Nothing special came, so I decided to give you now my best books of 2023. So I have 6 books that really capture my attention and I will consider the best of the books. I didn't have a great reading year. I was not reading a lot in the beginning of the year, especially in the middle. July, August, I was not reading a lot because of the conference. I start picking up September, October, November, and then like March, April, May, which was on in Poland, so were the months that I read most. And then the rest of the year was like meh reads or 1 book, 2 books. It was not the best year on reading, so I don't have a lot, but I have some. So let's start with one that is very popular on BookTube, which is Caraval by Stephanie Garber. This was a recommendation by Jojo, and I think Pia, but Jojo recommended me, and I was like, in Poland or in Prague, I don't remember, but I'll start listening to the audiobook of Caraval. And by the end of Caraval, I blew out the series. I read like Legendary and Finale, like one after the other, because on the audiobook I was remember visiting Prague. I was going to visit the castle and I finished Caraval because I remember it ends with Donatella's letter and I was like, let's start Legendary while I'm visiting the castle of Prague. And so that day I listened to a lot of Legendary because so my phones were like full of charge and I was like, I need more of this. The book is very good. I like the vibes. I like the characters. I think the first is very different from the second one and the third. The first is the question of Scarlet finding her sister and fighting the Caraval and winning the Caraval with this mystery, and you start to discovering this story. And then on the second and third you guys start getting what the big picture is. And I think my favorite is Legendary. I don't know, I really like the vibes of Caraval, how it was, the characters and discovering the Caraval magic and the trials, while the second one was a bit just Scarlet, which is a very different character. So I was like, I don't know if I like one more of the best. I think Finale left me with a little bit of a sour taste, because although I like the story, I hoped I would spend more time with the Deck of Destiny, with all the characters with a more wide world of that experience, and you know, this great evil defeated like relatively easy. So I think that would be if this was like a 4-book series with a lot, with expanding the lore around that and around the cards, and I would love even more, because I really like that part. I think that part is super interesting, super captivating, super dynamic, and that's one of my favorite parts of the book. But yeah, Caraval, the Caraval series is definitely on my best books of 2023. From Caraval vibes, with a book that has vibes that I consider similar, is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillett. This was also an audiobook, but it was in August, and I love the story. When I say it gives me Caraval vibes, it's not because of the Caraval, but it's definitely because of the cards. There is a plot also with cards with Elsbeth. I think the story worked for me very well in terms of characters, of pacing, of atmosphere. I really like that dark, gloomy atmosphere of the forest, of the fog, everything the characters doing with the lore of the cards. And I think what I loved the most was you got a lot of lore, especially going to the second one. You got a lot of more lore, although it has a POV that I didn't enjoy as much, but you got a lot of the lore. You got a lot of experiment the cards once, twice. You see the powers, and I think that was lacking on Caraval, was that seeing of the cards, and here we got that. I love the Nightmare. The Nightmare voice was brilliant, and the interactions with Elsbeth, with his mind, how he treats her and how he games with her, I think it was brilliant. I think I really liked the romance. I think the romance was paced correctly. It didn't felt rushed or spent, or like it happened. I felt it was like possible to happen, although it was like, I don't believe it was a very long time, but I believe because the sentiment and the care was there. So I really recommend One Dark Window, and the series and the sequel is also very good. I didn't just don't like one POV because I didn't think it was so important to the story to get as many POVs as we get, but I was more interested on the other part of the experience. But the whole experience was like very, very good, and I hope and they go in the spin-off with the Shepherd King, because I need more of that. After fantasy, I think one of the best books that I've read, and this is in no particular order because I cannot pick the best book of 2023. It's like, this is the best, are all the same. This is a book that I've been anticipating for a long time, and if you know, you know which book it was, but it's The Woman in Me by Britney Spears. Now, let's face it, it's not the next American novel, it's not gonna be a Pulitzer Prize, and never, or even a Nobel Prize winning, but it's the first experience that you have since Britney is free of her conservatorship. It's the first experience that Britney had telling her story from her own side. And let's be real, we're not expecting those many facts. Now, if the ghostwriter did the best job he could, probably it's not the best written, and some plots are felt a little bit unnatural. But for me, who read Britney's publications and she scatters her mind a little bit like that, I felt it was very realistic to what she is as a person and what she transpares to social media. So for me, it was, as a fan, very transparent to what she wanted to feel. And it's not an easy story. You got a lot of the childhood, the abusive that her father was with the alcoholism, the being put on show business very early, going to the Mickey Mouse Club, the relationship with Justin Timberlake, how it ended, the backlash she got because of something that he did, but you know, all that mental pressure that she got in, the Diane Sawyer interview, which was atrocious, what she was like shamed for everything, and all the reflections that she did, like one of the lines that, when did I promise to stay 17 forever? Like, I never said I would stay 17 forever. And the idea that people have the pressure, like the breakdown, the umbrella incident, the conservatorship. Now, people are saying, oh, it feel like scarred, it didn't have a lot of drama. I think the revelation of the abortion was a big one. I think the revelation of what she felt about the breakup with Justin, going into this depression in New York alone, didn't get out, didn't want to do anything. The interaction she had one time with Robin Williams, I think that's what it's real. I felt it was a real emotion. And Michelle Williams did an amazing job as a narrator for Britney. And one of the things I want to result here is that the book was supposed to be longer. And it ended up being shorter. So, if a memoir is short, it's taken off pages, it's because some lawyers and some intervention was done to remove some content, because it doesn't make sense to remove it unless it's not important. But since everyone is caring about Britney, if she uses a bikini or a trikini, or if she does topless or not, I believe this is something about someone didn't want to be there, or someone didn't want the story to be released. Think about that. So, for me, it's one of the great stories. I was very hoping about this one. I devoured it in like, as soon as it came out in the audiobook, I was like, yep, I'm gonna listen to this while I'm working. I don't care no one it talks to me, I want to listen to this. So, for me, it was great. I love her story, and I think she deserves the best. And if she's putting another album, I'm here. If she's done with music, I have 8 albums for her, and I think it's great. One sci-fi book that really stuck me in this year was The Space Between Worlds. I think I listened this, I don't remember if it was before I go into Poland or after I came. I don't recall, but it's about multiple dimensions, and you can only jump to a certain dimension when you don't exist there. So it strikes the point who can jump, who are the most probable to jump into more worlds, and that comes to talk about racism, about classes, about divisions of wealth. Usually people who are poor are expected to die early, or to die, or to survive less in certain conditions in different worlds, so they have the higher probability to not be alive in those worlds, and to jump and to know those worlds. And that's what happened with our main character, and I think the book works very well. I love the concept, I love the twist that you have. I remember you get the twist at some point. I was like, oh my god, like I was not expecting this. And it will make me understand a little bit of the dynamic between her and another character. And then the twists toward the end, till the end of the story, what is going on with this power dynamic, the dynamic between her and the big bosses, all of that, I loved it. It was not only about that, it had a lot of lore about it, a lot of social commentary, a lot of interesting dynamics about space and science. And you don't need to be like high focus on science to understand this. That's not what I'm saying, but it has such a diverse world that I was really interesting about. The story is very captivating, and definitely the twists are so worth it. It's one of the best books I've read, and I can't wait to get a copy because I need a copy of that book, especially with this cover. It's stunning, and I need it on my bookshelf because I definitely want to reread it to get a second experience knowing now the story and try to pick up more points of it. Okay, I only have 2 more books here. One has a review here on the channel, is We Enter Flame. I think, looking back on the year, this is definitely one of the best books I've read. If it's the best book of all time, probably not, but from this year is definitely one of the best that I read. I like the characters, I like the interactions, I like the concept of the story, I like everything surrounded this, I like the dynamics, I like the lore, but I feel it has some problems. Yes, like I said on my review, there was a part on the middle that felt like always the same and was just like creating pages. At one point I was like, is it gonna be like always the same like every night? And then it breaks, and I think the end is very good, very revealing, and kept you in for the second one. And definitely, if I was reading it when it was released, I would be like, oh my god, I need the second one now. How can I not know the rest? When you leave it such plot, open plot, and such revelations. So I feel this is a great part of the story, and it's very good written. It's a very interesting setting with interesting sort of magic that is not very explored on this one. I hope it goes to the second one a little bit more explored, but the concept and the characters are dynamic and I love it, and I think it was a great read for this year. The final book I have on my list is 13 by Stephen McCaw, and it's a thriller, and I was hooked. This thriller is something else. If people have complaints, yes, you can see my reactions to 1 star of my 5 stars, and some people have complaints about this being like ridiculous because people could be in 2 times in how could be so prepared. That's what I loved. This book is the exact representation of what could happen in real life. Is a serial killer is so prepared and so mentally stable to create a plan that will lead him to victory because he doesn't make a lot of mistakes and he's prepared and he's focused and he's not a rush thing like, I want to kill and he kills. No, it's prepared, it's mentally capacitating, and he has abilities, and he has like, it's perfect. And the court scenes are amazing. I love a good court scene, I love a good court show, but guys, when I tell you, like, I was not expecting, because till the end I was like, okay, I know who the killer is, but then you don't, because when it comes I was like, okay, this is not what I was expecting. He's totally messing up with my head. Like, I loved it. I think the writing style is amazing. You don't need to read the rest of the series or before to get the idea. You get the idea. I believe his story is isolated, is perfect, and yeah, I think this is one of the best thrillers I've read last year and one of the best I've read in a long time. It's very good and I totally recommend it. So guys, these were my favorite books of 2023. Tell me in the comments which were your favorite books, which ones you recommend to everyone for this year. I try to post at least once a week on Tuesdays, Thursdays, or Sundays, but probably I'll try to post a little bit more by now. I have things accumulated back, some reviews. I hope you like, share, I hope you like, subscribe and comment to help this channel. I also have the Discord links for my book clubs down below, as well as my wishlist, my Ko-fi, and my affiliate links if you want to other ways to support this channel. And yeah, I have my reading sprints on Fridays if you want to join, and I'll see you guys in my next video, okay? Bye.